Members, please turn on your mics and silence your cell phones. So we're having the special agenda tonight. First order of business would be to swear in any speakers. Charlie, you want to go ahead with the applicant here?
Yes, sir. You stand and raise your right hand, please.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the statement you're to make to be the truth to the best of your information and belief?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. No old applications, so we'll go ahead to Mr. Shirley for the new application on the docket for tonight.
We'll do this meeting's minutes and the previous at the next session for
Yeah.
approving those.
That's totally fine.
Okay, so we are here this evening for a conditional use permit, 1561 Paris Pike. That is a storefront in the shopping center that's now anchored by Rural King. It is a B2 designation surrounded by B2 and A1 zones, right there near the intersection of 460 and McClellan. The conditional use permit here is for the operation of a medicinal cannabis dispensary. And at this time, we also have to evaluate their signage for these types of establishment, whether it be dispensary or producer or otherwise. We have to review their signage as a board to make sure they comply with our standards. Here with the red star there is approximately the storefront in question. Those of you that have been around a while, it used to be occupied by Hibbets. The image on the right side, it's not the colors you're used to, but I was lazy and pulled it from PVA, so I didn't have to switch maps. So it is a B2 zone, confirming that. That blue you see to the rear is A1 zone parcel. It is a mobile home neighborhood. That being said, all of the residential uses are more than 100 feet away. The regulations were written with the county in mind that any cannabis establishment be more than 100 feet from a residential zone or residential use in an A1 zone. This one complies. Again, that language was intended for the county, but the city did adopt it. So it does not adjoin any true residential zones, is outside of the distance for residential uses, as well as schools, daycares, and the like that we prohibited in our ordinance as it's written. Conditional uses, again, are those that don't typically occur in the by right uses of a zone, but they can be allowable if reviewed by application and also approved by the board in a way that makes sure that the effects of a non-typical use don't affect the general character or safety or welfare of a neighborhood. These findings, whether by approval or disapproval, must be supported by statements of fact or findings as made by the board by recommendation of staff. That's a quick summation of the state statute there. And of course, the board is empowered and required to give conditions of approval to any applicants if they do receive approval to ensure the mitigation of impact. So this is all a little new. We'll get through it pretty quick though. Again, this will be our first application for any sort of medicinal cannabis facility. Thank you, Mr. Dickerson. So again, it is a B2 zone. That zone is allowable by ordinance. Let's see, it is permissible for this use as it meets all criteria for locational aspects as set forth by our standards, KRS 218B, as well as KAR Title 915. Furthermore, within our code, there are additional regulations for medicinal cannabis dispensaries in particular. Again, they must be a minimum of 1,000 feet from all schools, child care facilities, public parks, and public recreational facilities. The state requires it just be from schools, essentially, so in our code we go a little beyond as far as mitigating and separating areas of impact of local importance. They're prohibited in all residential zones, and again, prohibited within 100 feet of residential zone or use in A1 zones. Again, while there is that use to the rear, it is technically a non-conforming use that is essentially, I'll say, kind of dying out. All that residential use behind there is in a floodplain, and again, as a non-compliant use, they're not allowed to replace or expand. So sometime in the future, that use will cease to exist and cannot be brought again by any other user. So, okay, that's that. So there are other expectations in the B2 zone that it can't co-locate in a shared space or have any financial arrangement with a medicinal cannabis practitioner. They can't have a doc in the box on site that can write you a prescription. They cannot be located in the same site used for growing, cultivating, or processing. Again, or in the same area or office as a physician, or in the same location of a strictly hemp business. Again, this is just for the separation of uses through our code as well as the state requirements. There are different, again, locational requirements and things in different zoning types that allow and designate where these uses should and shouldn't be. And lastly, they cannot package any of their cannabis products for sale to card holders on site. That has to be in a site that is set up for that can ensure quality measures and compliance with state standards and otherwise. Dispensary can also only sell the cannabis within a secure building, which basically the state lays out all the construction standards for those. We don't get into those. The applicant has indicated they've pulled the proper permits and are working with local building inspection as well. One of the stipulations that we've also added within our code is dispensaries can only be open from 8 to 8, pretty well, just to kind of slow the traffic flow. We do anticipate that this being essentially a regional facility, as there was only a limited number of licenses granted to certain places within the state. We do expect this facility to, again, kind of operate on a regional scale. I believe there's one, maybe two in Lexington. Next nearest, probably Louisville or Northern Kentucky.
There were 4 issued to the region.
Yeah.
And they did the lottery system, so there's another one I think in Richmond.
So, now, this one also does pertain to this particular applicant. If they are using a drive-through, curbside pickup, et cetera, we have to review that as part of this application. We just ask that they detail it in the use permit application, which they have done. You've been submitted a brief excerpt of their construction renderings, which do detail a secure pickup window. Again, that is permissible as long as they essentially ask for it up front. Any drive-through facilities would have to be accompanied by a development plan. This storefront is what I'll call landlocked, so I don't anticipate any drive-through structures. Again, we talked about how we have to review the signage for compliance. So basically, our code says it can only be text, no imagery, no coloration that would be, branding or otherwise, essentially. Basically, it has to be very minimal. It's the name of the business and what they do. So in working with the applicant, we came up with this rendering. It's about 120 square feet, which is permissible for the storefront they're at. In strip center, you get 2 square feet of signage for every foot of frontage you have in your storefront. They've got about 60 or so linear feet, so they're granted 120 square feet by right, and they've complied with that. And they also have a little panel sign that goes in the multi-tenant sign. Again, is going to mirror the same imagery they've got for their storefront, perfectly compliant. All in all, staff has found that the proposed cannabis dispensary does meet all state and local regulatory requirements. The traffic generated during the hours of operation are going to be characteristic to any ordered retail business you would find in a strip center. However, we do figure that this will probably operate on a regional scale. To be frank, we do have other retail establishments that operate on a regional scale, hereby. Walmart pulls in people, Rural King pulls in people, certain restaurants. So it's not uncommon in a strip center to pull in traffic from other communities. So we don't believe that there'll be any extenuating impact to the surrounding area. There should be plenty of parking and circulation, being that it's in a strip center. And so beyond that, these are our 4 typical, I just said all my findings. I'm getting ahead of myself. Staff does recommend approval overall, as it does meet all the requirements. Let's see here. I don't believe we have any conditions of approval that are different for this application, but with conditional use permits, they don't run with the land, so to speak. If this property, whether sale or transfer, the new ownership would have to, new owner, new user, would have to come in and reapply for consideration of the use permit, so they don't transfer. Beyond that, I'll let Mr. Dickerson here kind of explain more so about their proposal, but unless you have any questions for me at this time.
I'm sorry, can you reiterate that last condition again?
Last condition there. Upon sale or transfer essentially of the property and/or business, the new ownership or new user would have to reapply to ensure that their permit would stay valid. Variances run with the land that you all can grant, for dimensional things and whatnot. Conditional use permits do not run with the land, they run with ownership. So, and that's a standard condition for all use permits.
But he's not an owner, he's a tenant.
That's fine too. They are applying by affidavit under permission so any new user or lessee, again, the permits don't transfer. So, anything else for now?
Okay, yeah, I think we're okay for now, and we'll go ahead and let the applicant speak as well.
Yep. Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Boston, if you like.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Shirley. Thank you all for having me today.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. just a little bit of background on me, myself. I come from the pharmacy world, so my family's operated and owned independent pharmacies across the Midwest for the last 20-ish years. And we operate several cannabis businesses in the states as well, with one in Kentucky now, one in New Jersey, and then several in Missouri. And we have found that, you know, these dispensaries do generate a lot of job creation for the town, the city, as well as a lot of good tax revenue that I think could impact your guys' budget quite a bit. So just happy to be here, want to be really good community partners with you guys and be transparent, answer any questions you may have. So without any further ado, I'll open it up to questioning.
Sure, thank you. Does anybody on the board have any questions for the applicant specifically?
I do. Where's the walk-up?
The walk-up window is inside, so you open the door, and then when you check in, they check your ID and everything, so that window is just right there for them to like do a pickup.
Have you filed for, your license is expiring in a couple of weeks. Have you already filed for that?
We've already been renewed, yes, ma'am.
Okay, because that's not in the, it's not in the packet, so. That's
What-
the reason it's not in the packet.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's already been renewed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
So I know you all work together with the branding. I guess you can maybe clear this up for me, but I could also see that the public would have this question as well.
Sure.
If we're giving you a conditional use for medicinal cannabis, why is medicinal cannabis not in the branding?
So cannabis dispensary is what we usually use. We've got several different storefronts, and changing that specifically for this would be something different. But, you know, if that's something that the board wants, we can check with our team. And
I don't know how big of an issue it will be for everybody, but it will be a question that will be passed around, you know, because when I was looking through the packet, the license is for medicinal cannabis as well.
yes,
I know on the vote for the city and the county, like there was a question on there where it talked about other cannabis, so you weren't, you know, here for that, other cannabis dispensaries. But one of the questions I have is like, you know, somebody's gonna say, okay, right now this is for medicinal, and of course, later on, somebody would have to apply for another conditional use
Sure.
if there was other cannabis related, but I just know working with the public that that question's gonna come up. And the other thing I was gonna mention, as I look through the packet on where you wanna be a community partner, and I think that some of that educational sessions that you spoke about would be great. I know it specifically said for local law enforcement, but I definitely think that there would be people in the public that would benefit from that as well.
Yes.
Just based on the lack of education, not knowing exactly, I mean, these are starting to hit the news now, the ones that are getting approved. So there's a lot of questions that are getting put out there, if anybody's not really familiar with medicinal cannabis.
yes, sir. And, you know, our number one goal is to provide safe, accessible product. You know, there's been, with the legalization of the Farm Bill in 2018, there's been some, I don't want to say loophole, but questionable dispensaries that may pop up. So all these gas stations are now, you know, selling unregulated products and such. So we want to make sure that Blue Sage is a well-known name across the Midwest. We stand for patient access and safety, security. And I think that the public will learn that here in Kentucky as well. We've got a couple other locations that we're branding here in the state. So,
Thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate that. That's all.
Yeah, no, good question. Anybody else?
I'm sorry, Nate, I have one more question.
It's okay, go ahead.
And I apologize, this is kind of in the weeds, and that's just me. Are you going to have a website?
yes, ma'am.
All right. On that website, will there be postings of the COAs so that the users can get to that to verify that the testing is accurate?
The COAs, I don't believe the state allows us to post all of those products to the public, but if you are a card holder and you come in, we have the COAs on every product in in the dispensary.
Are they marked on the package? Do you know, the COAs?
The COAs are not, but the required information, which is potency, past tests, those things are all on the package.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Sorry to be in the weeds, Nate.
It's okay. No, I appreciate.
No, and I know
appreciate
this
you
is
being
new
thorough. It's
for
okay.
state of Kentucky, so I'm happy to, answer
Yeah.
any questions. Would love to give you guys a tour when we get things open, and, again, just trying to be a good community partner.
How much of your, that's a decent-sized retail out, how much of that is the vault proportionally?
Oh, I'd say our vault is gonna be about 600 square feet in there.
Okay.
Yep, and there is controlled access everywhere that product is stored. So we've got controlled access. So basically, the whole facility past the entrance is a vault by controlled access, and only certain staff have access to each level of that security.
And what's the total square footage on that area?
I'd have
Ballpark?
to
It's okay.
check.
It's okay, just curious.
Have to check. It's right around 2,000, I believe.
I mean, the picture that we got shows a pretty large proportion. That's the reason I asked.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rhett, I guess I just have one or two more for you, and Jeremy kind of stirred it up a little for me. On the packet that we got for the regulations, the 8 pages from, I guess that's with the state, right?
This is our regulation.
This is just ours.
Oh, this one, no, this one that we got? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, so basically, our regulations are based on a state rubric that we have kind of gone above
Okay.
and beyond while also trying to be fair and offer access.
Okay.
Just a little background on how we did it, and Jay in the video room, awesome, does a lot of work that goes unnoticed, but, so the way we started with writing the ordinance is we started visually first, and we kind of workshopped ideas of where we would think these would be appropriate, et cetera, whatnot, and kind of wrote out a list of things, gave it to Jay, who then created a map that would show us allowable areas based on our first best guess of where we thought might be appropriate, and that way we could see if we were allowing enough access and being fair without being too prohibitive, and also kind of where those things landed. Again, we had an exclusionary zone, not only around schools, but daycares, other public facilities, things of that nature. So we wanted to make sure that by adding, a lot of different public uses that went beyond the state, that we weren't being too exclusionary. It worked out really well, not only for dispensaries, but also producers, et cetera. The graphics came out nice, and thank you, Jay. That was a really great way of kind of working backwards at an ordinance. It worked out really, really well. Jay kind of had an accidental head start on it because he does have a layer essentially for certain types of offenders that cannot be within certain distances of XYZ. So he already kind of had a base layer that he could work with that and kind of jump off from there. So overall, we basically took the state framework, went a little above and beyond it. In particular, those kind of exclusionary things, everything within, every type of facility within the county will be a conditional use. So anytime anything pops up in city limits, you guys will see it. Or anytime a license or storefront transfers. And then also in the county, everything in the county is conditional use as well.
So on the 11 general development standards, all those were met, correct?
Yes.
And as to Jeremy's point, is there anything that, with the signage, that requires it to say medicinal in those things, or is that not part of it?
There's not anything,
It looks like on 11C, it mentioned it towards the end, but it was
yeah.
depicting medicinal or the products.
Really, it just says at most may include, but there is not really
Okay.
anything that says it has to
Right?
include. It's more, again, restrictive than it asks of the applicant.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
But it's, it's at board discretion. I can understand where Mr. Emerson's coming from. A facility pops up and everybody goes, oh, and I'll just say, the word that we're not saying out loud. Oh, it's a recreational dispensary, I can run in there. While Boston and his team would probably like, yeah, awesome, you know, like, but, oh,
Right.
wait, I gotta card you guys. And I can see how that might cause undue stress on them of, you know, being kind of overwhelmed by people seeking a product they can't offer.
Right.
So
yeah,
I can
think-
understand where a
yeah.
little clarity might be
Yeah,
helpful,
that needs some clarification.
if it's the pleasure of the board.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it, especially with the, you know, the applicant, you know, stating to work with the community and, you know, have open communication with the community. It was just something I was curious about if it was in there. I don't
No,
think,
the
in
code does
my
not-
opinion, I don't think it has to be added to the signage, but it was a
Yeah, the
good
code
question.
in that regard just says a lot of what you can't do as opposed to what you have to do as far as signage goes.
Right. Okay. Any other questions for the applicant or staff? Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion? I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept the application as presented by staff, per staff recommendations.
Second.
Frank. All those in favor? Aye?
For the record,
Any, but, go ahead. What's that?
is accept, approve, is that a couple?
I'm writing proof, so yeah, it is.
Okay.
The intent that accept is approved.
Yes, I'm sorry. What,
Yes.
how would it be phrased better? I'm sorry.
Just approve the application.
Up to approve,
If your
okay.
interpretation
Yeah, so
is
my,
accepted,
yes,
it's
my
approved.
motion was to approve the application based on staff recommendations. Sorry if I said a couple different things in there.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're clear.
Frank, yeah, no, I appreciate it. Frank seconded. Again, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, as this is a special meeting, we cannot speak anything further than what's on the agenda, so
Okay.
with that, you know, if there's anything else.
Great. No, thank you guys for meeting tonight, and thank you to the applicant. We appreciate it. Thank you to staff. We're adjourned.
Looking forward to working with you.